How this popcorn girl shocked a millionaire CEO at 21. You won't believe what happened next. In the heart of a bustling city, where dreams were supposed to dance in the air, a young woman named Mia was popping more than just corn. At just 21, she turned a small popcorn stand into a whirlwind of intrigue, drawing the attention of everyone around. Legends whispered that her popcorn contained a secret ingredient, a flavor so mysterious, it could sway the hearts of the most powerful. Yet, no one knew where she'd learned to perfect this sweet and salty alchemy, or why her eyes sparkled with unspeakable secrets every time she handed over a bag. It was an ordinary Friday in June when chaos erupted. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow that glinted off the pavement, Mia set up shop. Customers lined up, not just for the popcorn, but to catch a glimpse of the girl who seemed to defy the ordinary. Among the crowd, one figure stood out: a sharply dressed millionaire CEO, Ben Richards, known for his icy demeanor and ruthless business tactics. People said he had a heart of stone, but there he was, drawn to Mia's modest stand as if it were a beacon in the night. The line moved slowly, anticipation crackling in the air like static electricity. He leaned, finally ordering the famed surprise popcorn. When Mia handed him the bag, their eyes locked for a brief moment, and the world around them faded away. Something sparked between them, a flicker of tension that felt electric yet uncomfortable. As Ben took his first bite, the look of shock spread across his face. He gasped, staggering back. What was in that popcorn? The crowd gasped in unison, their faces twisting in confusion and uncertainty. Murmurs erupted as they pushed forward to see what was happening. Was he choking? Then came an unexpected laugh, rich and full of warmth, breaking the silence. Mia's laughter rang out, a contrast to the shock on Ben's face. But it wasn't just laughter, it was a sound that carried an undertone of something deeper, something captivating. In that moment, people teased and whispered, wondering what on earth had just happened. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Back at the stand, everyone was leaning in. Ben shook his head, half laughing, half disbelieving. What did you put in this? He exclaimed, his eyes wide enough to let the entire crowd in on the secret. But Mia only smiled mysteriously, her gaze steady, as the crowd erupted in speculation. Was it magic? Was it a clever scheme? And why did Ben, the powerful CEO, appear almost vulnerable? Tension rippled through the spectators as they inched closer, eager for the next act of this odd play unfolding before them. Now the question hung heavy in the air: who was this popcorn girl really, and what had she done to get such a reaction from a man famed for his strength? The whispers grew louder, the suspense grew thicker, wrapping around them like a fog that wouldn't clear. And just when it seemed the answers might come, a loud crash echoed from behind the stand, followed by a deafening silence. What else was going to happen? Everyone turned at once, fear and curiosity mixing in the air like a dangerous cocktail as they realized the night was far from over. The sound of the crash reverberated through the crowd, sharp like glass shattering in a still room. Everyone's head snapped around, eyes wide and breath held, searching for the source. Mia's heart raced. She instinctively stepped back, her popcorn stand still standing tall, but at that moment, it felt as fragile as a paper crane in a storm. What the hell was that? Someone shouted from the back of the line, the tension morphing into panicked whispers. Ben, still shaken from the popcorn incident, squinted into the gathering darkness, his expression twisting into one of authority. He was a man used to being in control, and yet he felt the ground shift beneath him. As the murmurs grew louder, a figure emerged from the shadows behind the stand, a tall man, cloaked in a dark trench coat, his face obscured by a hat pulled low. He moved with an unsettling grace, stepping forward with a purpose, and a nervous ripple coursed through the crowd. Was it just Mia who felt the chill in the air, or did everyone share that unshakable sense of foreboding? "Everyone, stand back," Ben commanded, his voice slicing through the unease. The crowd instinctively parted, their curiosity now tinged with fear. There was something about the newcomer that sent sparks of dread through their veins, like the first hint of danger that roared before a storm. Mia's mind raced. Who was this man? Was he here for her? She hadn't done anything wrong, had she? The laughter still rang in her ears, but the carefree moment felt miles away. Questions swirled in her mind like popcorn popping in a kettle. Was someone coming to expose her secret, or were they here for something far worse? The tension escalated. The stranger stepped closer, his eyes locking on Mia. Suddenly, a familiar fear gripped her heart. This wasn't just about the popcorn anymore. The secrets she held, the whispers that had followed her, were becoming tangible threats. "Where is it?" The man growled, his voice low and menacing enough to send chills crawling down her spine. The crowd hung breathless, every word hanging in the air like a loaded gun. Mia's throat felt tight as she searched both the man's face and Ben's, the CEO's steely gaze now focused intently on this newcomer. Did he know? Did he understand? Panic tightened her chest. She hadn't intended to draw this kind of attention. She never wanted any of this. "What are you talking about?" She managed to stammer, trying to hold her ground, though her knees felt weak. "I don't have anything." "Cut the act," he barked, taking a menacing step forward. "You think your little game can hide the truth? I know what's hidden in that popcorn. Now hand it over." Gasps erupted from the crowd. Eyes darted between Mia and Ben, who looked ready to pounce but was momentarily stunned. The noise of the city faded away, drowning in the heavy tension that seemed to snap like a taut rubber band about to break. Mia took a hesitant step backward, her heart racing at the edge of chaos. Blow after blow of adrenaline surged through her. She could either reveal her secrets or face the consequences of hiding them. What did this man know that would shake the very foundation of her life? Just as she grappled with her next move, a sudden flicker caught her eye above the crowd. A familiar shadow loomed. It was the flashing light of police sirens, swirling red and blue, drawing closer. Would they arrive in time to save her, or was this just the beginning of the end? As they all turned to watch the headlights approach, the man's expression hardened. "You think you can escape?" This isn't over. Mia realized that the worst was yet to come. Each heartbeat was a countdown. What would happen when the police arrived? Would they save her from this threatening figure, or would they be too late to stop whatever storm was brewing? The night was just beginning to unfold. The sirens blared, a chaotic symphony that pierced through the oppressive silence. Mia stood frozen, her heart hammering in her chest like a drum echoing an urgent call. She watched the headlights slice through the darkness, illuminating the crowd's anxious faces, their gazes shifting from her to the shadowy figure closing in on her. "Please," she whispered, barely audible, hoping against hope that rescue would come in time. The stranger's silhouette loomed larger, his expression tightening into a sneer as he turned slowly to meet the approaching lights. He seemed unbothered by the flash of authority that heralded the police, the subtle confidence in his demeanor unnerving. "Not much time," Ben exclaimed suddenly, breaking Mia from her daze. He stepped toward the man, fists clenched and jaw set. "You don't want to escalate this. Whatever you think you're here for can be resolved without violence." The man chuckled, a dark, mocking sound that sent another chill down Mia's spine. "You don't understand, do you? You think a badge can protect her?" He pointed an accusing finger at her. "She has something I want. Something that can't be left to chance." Mia's breath hitched. What did he mean? She felt exposed, her secrets laid bare under the cool gaze of the streetlights. She tried to piece together the man's threat but could only hear the rising tide of her own panic. The police car pulled up, tires screeching against the asphalt. Officers stepped out, eyes scanning the gathering crowd. "What is going on here?" One shouted, gesturing for the people to back away. Mia's pulse quickened as she felt the weight of the onlookers' gazes, their curiosity mixed with fear. She looked to Ben, desperation creeping into her thoughts. What should I do? Just stay calm, he whispered back, clearly unsure himself. Beneath his surface confidence, Mia sensed a flicker of worry as he met the eyes of the strange man. If you've got something to tell, now's the time. The stranger took a menacing step closer to Mia as if daring her to speak. You think they can shield you, girl? You'll give it to me. Just then, the lead officer stepped closer, observing the escalating situation. Sir, I need you to back away from the young lady, he commanded, voice low but firm. You have no idea what you're dealing with, the man sneered, tossing a challenge. His eyes flicked back to Mia, burning with intensity, igniting a storm of uncertainty within her. Choose wisely, Mia. Either you give it up now, or I will make sure everyone knows the truth before this night is over. Gasps erupted again. What truth? Fear morphed into a knot in her stomach as dread coated every thought. It felt like all eyes were on her now and she was teetering at the edge of some unseen precipice. Could she risk opening her mouth? What would spill out, and at what cost? The officers moved in closer, and the man shot them a disdainful look before shifting back toward Mia. Time's up, he warned, tension coiling around them thick enough to strangle. The police might be here, but they can't protect you from me. Suddenly, flashes of memory flooded Mia's mind, the moments she thought she'd buried, the choices that had led them all to this crescendo of chaos. And then, with all the courage she could muster, she locked eyes with the stranger. I'm not afraid of you. You don't know anything. His laugh echoed in the heavy night air, both menacing and amused. Oh, my dear, you have no idea how wrong you are. A wind rustled through the crowd, anticipation hanging on every breath. The standoff simmered, the night a perilous tableau of uncertainty. As large shadows loomed, Mia felt the world shift beneath her feet. Whatever choice she made was going to have repercussions she couldn't begin to understand. But a fateful decision was coming, and with it, a truth that would reverberate far beyond this night. Suddenly, a gunshot rang out, cutting through the air like a knife, piercing the tension, and Mia realized her life would never be the same. What would happen next? Would she unravel the terrifying secrets swirling around her, or had she just stepped into the very darkness she feared most? Mia's heart stopped. The loud crack echoed in her ears, drowning out the chaos surrounding her. She darted her eyes around, searching for the source. Someone had fallen, she was sure of it. Fear clawed at her throat, choking her words. The officer's voice turned sharp, cutting through the fog of terror. Everyone, back up. I'm serious. But the crowd stood frozen, mouths agape, some pressed against one another, their fear palpable. Ben moved closer to Mia, his face pale but fierce. He grabbed her elbow, leading her away from the glow of the headlights. Mia, we need to go. Now. He urged, glancing back to where the gunshot had come from. Mia's mind raced as she stumbled after him. What about the others? What happened? Later. We have to get you safe. He insisted, pulling her into the shadows. Off in the distance, the police shouted commands, but the air crackled with uncertainty. In their frantic descent into the darker streets, the world blurred around her. The adrenaline surged through her veins, electrifying her thoughts. What had that man meant by the truth? What dark secrets rested like bombs beneath the surface of her life? Then she remembered her father's whispered conversations. The hidden files she stumbled upon as a child. Were they connected? A flash of recognition cut through her fear. She had to confront him. She had to find out how deep the rabbit hole went. They weaved through alleyways, the shadows stretching like fingers around them. Each step felt like a mile, the weight of the situation pressing down on her chest. What did he mean, Ben? What do I have that's so important? She asked, desperation edging her voice. Ben stopped and turned, his eyes steady on hers. I don't know, but whatever it is, it's enough to make him want to silence you. We need to figure this out, but we've got to stay hidden for now. Mia shivered, not from the cold, but the realization that she was tangled in a web of something sinister. Just then, gunshots echoed again, far off but chillingly close. Panic surged anew, and Mia squeezed her eyes shut, her heart racing with every beat. Okay, listen, Ben whispered urgently. We can't stay in one place. We have to find a safe spot, regroup. Mia nodded, trying to silence the panic. They pressed on, edging closer to an old abandoned warehouse that loomed on the edge of the street. The echo of sirens grew louder, the night alive with chaos, but the shadows offered a fragile cloak of safety. Inside the warehouse, the air was thick with the smell of stale dust. Light filtered through cracks in the walls, painting the concrete in stripes of brightness and darkness. As they crept deeper inside, Mia's breath quickened. She felt exposed yet again, exposed both physically and emotionally. What if he finds us? She whispered, her voice trembling. He won tea. We'll be okay, Ben assured her, only partly convincing. But you have to trust me. Follow my lead. Mia took a deep breath, gathering herself. Trust? In a moment of chaos? But she was out of options. The tension in the air thickened, and she could feel it closing in around her like a vice grip. As they reached a corner of the warehouse, a flickering neon sign buzzed overhead. It cast a sickly glow on the faces hidden in the corners. Hidden whispers slithered through the air, curling around them as they listened. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows. It wasn't he the stranger, but someone familiar, someone she never thought she would see again. Mia. Her name echoed in her mind, bringing with it a rush of emotions, a blend of fear, recognition, and something else entirely. Derek? She breathed, heart pounding. What are you doing here? You shouldn't be, but before she could finish, the rattle of footsteps interrupted, and a cold realization hit her. Time was running out. The shadows were closing in and danger was drawing nearer. What were they chasing after? What secrets were about to be unveiled as the night unfolded around her? Mia's breath caught in her throat. Derek was standing right in front of her, framed by the flickering light. But this was more than a mere reunion, it was the manifestation of every memory she thought she'd buried. Mia. He repeated, urgency dripping from his voice. We don't have time. They're coming. She had thousands of questions swirling in her mind, but the pounding of footsteps echoed ominously through the warehouse, cutting her off. Who? Who's coming? Before Derek could answer, a thud against the door sent a shiver down her spine. Something sharp gripped the pit of her stomach. Listen to me, he said, urgency morphing his tone, your father, he left something behind. Something they're desperate to find. What are you talking about? What did my father have? Derek opened his mouth, but a loud crash echoed as the door splintered, sending splinters flying. Mia's instincts kicked in. Run! She screamed, grabbing Ben's arm. They darted deeper into the warehouse, the air heavy with dust and danger. Shadows danced around them, teasing her senses as fear drove her forward. I told you to trust me. Ben yelled. But she didn't have time to respond. The sound of heavy boots crunching on glass and debris sent another chill racing through her. Which way? Ben panted, scanning the dimly lit space. Over there. Mia pointed towards a narrow exit at the back. They had to move fast before their pursuers found them. Just as they made a break for it, Derek was suddenly at their side, eyes burning with determination. You can't trust me, he gasped, but you need to understand everything is connected. What? Mia's heart raced at the thought that the danger had to do with her father, her life, her very existence. How? What do you know? But the question hung in the air, suspended between them, unanswered. Then she heard it, a low growl of anger, a voice she recognized yet didn't want to admit. The stranger from earlier, the man with the gun. I know you're in here. He shouted. As his silhouette formed in the doorway, a flash of recognition caught Mia's attention, a badge glinting in the faint light. The police? Or something worse? No. Stay down. Ben growled, pushing her behind a stack of crates as they dove for cover. Derek crouched low beside her. There's a secret, something buried, he whispered, his breath hot against her ear, and once they find it, they'll never let you go. What do you mean? But the words were swallowed by the cacophony of chaos. The thud of footsteps drew closer, the metallic click of a weapon being readied rang out, pulling at her heart. Get ready, Ben said, tense and alert, his hand gripping Mia's tightly. We may have to fight our way out. Fight? A lump formed in her throat. The realization gnawed at her. This night had shattered everything she thought she knew. They waited, the seconds stretching like an eternity. Mia's pulse raced, each beat resonating with the sound of approaching danger. Then, just as the first shadow fell across their hiding spot, the lights flickered and plunged them into darkness. Go! She shouted. They moved on instinct, racing towards the back of the warehouse. Shadows swirled around them, but Mia wasn't ready to succumb to fears. This way! Derek yelled, but as they took the last turn, something struck her. Everyone was hiding something. The truth that Derek spoke of felt much closer yet infinitely far from reach. Just then, a shout fractured the dark. Don't let them escape. Mia turned, the fear twisting her stomach painfully. She had to know the truth, but time was slipping away. Stumbling into a larger room filled with old machinery, she glanced back at Derek. What are we running from? She demanded, racing against the clock. But his eyes widened and he pointed. There. Through the dust and shadows, a revelation clicked in place. Would facing the truth liberate her, or pull her deeper into the darkness? In that moment of uncertainty, she felt something cold and hard in her pocket, the very file she had once tucked away. What if that was the key to everything? The echoes of pursuit closed in on them. Did she have the courage to confront whatever lay ahead? Move! Ben yelled, and they plunged into the darkness, but behind them, an ominous presence loomed ever closer. What awaited them in the shadows? What truths could shatter her already fragile world? Would they find safety, or was the truth the very thing they needed to escape? They rushed forward, the pitch black swallowing them whole. The only sounds were their rapid breaths and pounding hearts, lost in a swirl of confusion and terror. Mia clutched the file tightly, knowing it held answers but feeling the weight of it, almost as if it pulsed with a life of its own. Why are we running? Mia's voice trembled, torn between fear and determination. Who are they? Derek's voice echoed back, low and urgent. You need to trust me, just keep moving. We're not safe yet. The shadows danced around them, disorienting and sinister. The old machinery creaked ominously, as if warning them of the heartbeat of danger that enveloped their flight. Without turning back, they veered left into a narrow corridor crammed with crates stacked precariously high, barely held together. Suddenly, a loud crash erupted close behind them, making Mia jump. It was a relentless reminder that their pursuers were right on their heels, and every second mattered. She could hear shouts now, disorganized yet terrifying. Come on! Ben shouted as he pulled her forward. His grip on her hand was firm, solid. We have to find a way out of here. Then a beam of light sliced through the dark, illuminating a door at the far end. There it was, their only chance. But time was running out. The sound of men crashing through obstacles sent a wave of icy fear through her chest. Would they make it? Go! Derek yelled, pushing them ahead even as he lagged back, eyes darting in every direction, alert for the impending danger. Mia glanced over her shoulder. What about you? She called. Just get to the door and don't look back. He shouted before turning toward the noise, fists clenched, ready to confront whatever was coming for them. With adrenaline surging, Mia and Ben broke into a sprint. They reached the door, and as her shaking hand gripped the cold metal handle, Mia hesitated. What were they running into? Now? Ben urged, fear blending with urgency as he pushed her through the doorway. They stumbled out into a narrow alleyway, the air fresh and chilly, a stark contrast to the stifling darkness inside. But they had no time to catch their breath. Mia felt the world shift yet again, turning her heart to ice as she heard heavy footsteps pounding behind them. Where do we go? She gasped, scanning the dimly lit street. Shadows cast by overhead lights danced ominously. There's an old car I saw on the way here. If it's still there, we can escape, Ben yelled, already leading her away from the warehouse. Just as they made a break for it, the door they had escaped from blasted open. A group of figures poured out, the same man in a police uniform stepping forward, gun drawn, eyes blazing with a crazed intensity. Stop! He screamed, his voice echoing through the night, heavy with authority. Panic surged in Mia, and she glanced at Ben, who was processing the threat in real time. Run! He urged, tugging her along with him as they dashed down a side street, but as they rounded a corner, Mia's breath stalled. A figure stood silently under the streetlight, a familiar silhouette. Derek! She called, but the warmth of relief was swiftly doused by alarm. His expression was grim. What are you doing here? We don't have enough talk. The officer shouted from a distance, snapping her back to reality. In a split second, Mia made a choice. She couldn't hide behind Derek anymore. I have to know the truth. She yelled back at him, heart racing. What if it's the only way to stop this? Derek's eyes widened in fear. Mia, don't, the officer's voice cut through the tension like a blade. You think you can just run? You have no idea what you're dealing with. With that, Mia felt her pulse thunder. Was it too late for her to find answers? Did confronting her past mean risking everything she had left? Go! She shouted, spilling forth every ounce of bravery she had. But behind her, Derek's anxiety was palpable, creating a split between them. As they surged ahead, something in Mia hardened. The file in her pocket weighed heavier now. It could lead to freedom or to doom. What was her father's secret? With the shadows closing in and her heart pounding, she gripped Ben's arm tighter. They had to press on. And as they fled into the unknown, the officer's voice echoed after them, you can't escape your fate, Mia. But could she? Dread loomed over them as they crossed the alley into an open street, the air thick with tension. Ben pulled Mia closer, urgency lining his face. This way. We have to stick to the shadows. They darted behind the hulking frame of an abandoned building, heartbeats racing in sync with their frantic footsteps. A low, rumbling growl of a nearby engine reverberated through the night, the sound drawing closer. Mia's chest tightened as she knew the danger was right behind them. Over there. Ben pointed to an old sedan nestled in a half-lit parking lot. Mia squinted through the darkness, her heart leaping with hope. If it's still running, we might have a chance. They sprinted towards the car, Mia's eyes darting anxiously over her shoulder. Just as they reached it, the rev of an engine echoed ominously behind them. The officer, his silhouette now emerging through the shadows, was relentless, a hound tracking its prey. Get in! Ben shouted, yanking the passenger door open and shoving Mia inside. She fumbled with the handle, her hands shaking as she fumbled for the seatbelt. Ben lunged into the driver's seat and turned the key. Nothing happened. Simon. Come on. He cursed, turning the key again. A weak sputter, then silence. Mia hissed out a breath, panic clawing at her throat. We don't have time. They're coming. With frantic energy, she turned, pressing her forehead against the glass, searching the increasingly dark street. A figure had appeared larger now, wielding a flashlight that cut through the darkness like a knife. I'll find you, Mia. The officer's voice boomed, sending chills down her spine. You can't hide. Ben gripped the wheel, frustration mounting. Why won't it start? Let me try. Mia insisted, pushing him aside. She twisted the key again, her heart racing against the rhythm of hope and despair. The engine coughed to life, a sputtering sound that seemed fragile yet promising. It's alive! She exclaimed, exhilaration filling her with a surge of adrenaline. But then, the sputter dulled into silence. Shit! Ben kicked the dashboard. We have to get out of here. Mia's breath quickened as she looked out again. The officer was closer now, sprinting towards them, determination plastered across his face. Get out of the car. Go. 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 Ben shouted desperately, letting adrenaline guide his fingers. He twisted the key once more. The engine roared, and momentum surged forward as they shot out of the lot. The tires screamed against the pavement, but their escape was hardly safe. Turn left. Mia pointed, urgency filling her voice, following the maze of streets. Ben veered sharply, tires screeching as they careened around the corner, heart racing. The cop wasn't too far behind, his cruiser lighting up the night with a ferocity that made Mia's skin crawl. You can't run forever. I will find you. He yelled, the echo haunting. Who is he? Ben demanded, eyes darting to Mia for answers. I don't know. She shouted back, realizing the chaos was spiraling out of control. The urgency of their escape enveloped them as they raced down quieter streets. Mia racked her mind, the file in her pocket bearing so many secrets, and now, time was running out. The truth was both a beacon and a curse. Suddenly, a thought struck her like lightning. There was a mention of a meeting place in the document. We need to get to that address. Ben nodded, determination stealing his gaze. But we'll have to lose him first. The chase intensified. Every turn, every slight bump in the road sent jolts of adrenaline coursing through her. Mia's heart beat so fast she thought it might explode. Their lives hinged on the moments ahead. As they dove into another darkness, she sensed a shift in the air, an undeniable tension thickening around them. There was more to come than mere escape. They were entangled in something far deeper, something that wouldn't let them go so easily. And as they angst through the alleys toward the unknown, the weight of unwritten stories closed in. What was hidden in the shadows waiting to ensnare them? Keep going. She urged, realizing that they were on the precipice of an unimaginable truth. Could the truth truly set them free, or would it seal their fate? The streetlights flickered as Ben maneuvered the car through the dimly lit roads, weaving in and out of abandoned lots and jagged alleyways. The adrenaline coursing through Mia felt electrifying yet suffocating, a potent cocktail of fear and determination. The relentless roar of the officer's cruiser echoed behind them, growing louder, tearing through her thoughts. Ben, can you keep this up? She asked, glancing at him. Sweat glistened on his brow, every muscle in his face taut with concentration. I'm trying. He snapped, pounding the steering wheel as they raced into yet another narrow alley. I need to find a way to lose him. They skidded around a tight corner, the back end of the car fishtailing dangerously. Mia's breath hitched as she gripped the handle of her door, her heart lodged painfully in her throat. Where is that meeting place? Ben demanded, eyes darting around for any semblance of hope. Mia dug into her pocket, the crumpled paper now a lifeline clutched tightly in her palm. It was, I think, the old warehouse on River Street. What? That's 2 miles from here. I know. She exclaimed, her voice rising above the cacophony of tires screeching and the relentless pursuit. But it's our best shot. We can find help there. Nodding, he slammed the accelerator, and the car surged forward. The peace of the moment was shattered by the harsh lighting of the officer's cruiser illuminating the alley's end. Panic clawed at Mia again as they veered onto a larger road. Stay down. She urged as the blinding spotlight made her shrink back instinctively. She took a swift glance in the rearview mirror. The officer was right on their tail, maneuvering the cruiser with an unsettling ease. Just then, a loud bang echoed through the air, making Mia flinch. What was that? The tire. Ben called out, panic creeping into his voice. I think we blew a tire. The car wobbled violently, and Mia's stomach dropped as Ben wrestled with the steering wheel. Hold on! He shouted, just as the car veered off the road and crashed into a metal fence. A cloud of dust billowed around them, muffling the sounds of the city beyond. Mia's heart hammered as she tried to regain her bearings, the impact rattling her to the core. Ben! We have to get out of here. He shoved the door open, and they spilled onto the sidewalk, breathless and disoriented. This way! He urged, grabbing her hand and pulling her into a nearby overgrown field, the chaos of the city now just a distant hum. Mia's mind raced, each breath sharp with disbelief. We're running out of time. We need to get to River Street. There has to be someone waiting for us. He glanced back. Do you really think someone will be there? What if this is a trap? The thought gnawed at her. I don't know, but we don't have a choice. It's our only hope. As they sprinted, dodging through tall weeds and overgrown grass, Mia suddenly turned. Ben! The file. We need to look at it now. He stopped, pulling out the wrinkled paper, eyes scanning for anything that could provide clarity. She leaned in close, their breaths mingling in the cool air. There has to be something we missed. Wait, Ben muttered, his finger tracing a line on the paper. This isn't just an address, it looks like a time too. What are you saying? The look in his eyes was one of realization laced with fear. It says they're meeting tonight and there's a name here. A name I know. The urgency of their escape faded slightly, replaced by a chilling dread. The realization sank in, and a cold sweat broke over Mia. Who? Someone powerful, someone who could help us or bury us, Ben whispered, his eyes wide. Just then, the sounds of the cruiser echoed once more, reverberating through their new hiding place, sending a wave of terror coursing through Mia. They were hunted, and the hunt was far from over. As they sank low, trying to catch their breath, shadows began to shift in the distance, figures looming closer. Was help on the way, or were they racing toward a dead end? Mia turned to Ben, her voice barely a whisper. What if it's a mistake? What if they know we're coming? In the shadows. Ahead, the silhouettes grew larger, and Mia's heart raced. The night was far from over, and another twist was waiting just around the corner. Would they step into a trap, or would they finally uncover the truth that could change everything? Mia and Ben crouched in the thick brush, their hearts pounding in sync with the distant growl of the cruiser. Shadows flickered, shapes emerging from the darkness, and Mia could feel a cold knot of fear tightening in her stomach. Who's there? Ben murmured, his voice barely above a whisper as they hunched lower, trying to merge with the darkness. I don't know, Mia replied, her breath trembling. Her grip tightened around the tattered paper, the inked name on it now burning in her brain. Was this a moment that could save them or seal their fate? As the figures drew closer, Mia strained to catch what they were saying. Her heart sank as she recognized one voice, low and commanding, a sound she had heard once in a far too intimate setting. It belonged to Marcus Hale, the man whose empire had driven their lives into chaos. She exchanged a panicked glance with Ben. The shadows shifted once more, revealing faces. There were 3 men, not police. Lurking, scanning their surroundings like hawks. Mia's pulse quickened. Could they be allies? Had they come to help, or were they part of something darker? He said they were coming. We have to find them before. Marcus's voice cut off sharply. What if they didn't make it? We'll be sitting ducks, another man replied, frustration evident in his tone. Mia felt her throat tighten. They were talking about them. Panic surged, and she darted a glance at Ben. We have to move. If they find us here, no, he hissed, eyes wide. They might not see us yet. We listen. Mia nodded, heart racing. But it felt like a risk that could end horribly. She could feel the cold, damp earth beneath her fingers, grounding her as she held her breath, listening intently. "Look, the parking lot's a dead end. If they make it out of the alley, we'll catch them," Marcus said, and the sound of his voice sent daggers of fear right through her. She couldn't allow him to anticipate their every move. The group turned, still oblivious to their presence, and for a moment, Mia allowed herself to hope. That glimmer of faith could lead them to safety or their demise. The second man stepped closer to Mia's side, flirting with the brush's edge, making her want to leap from the ground. "Why are we waiting? Hale's got too much riding on this. If we don't act now, shut it. You think I want to screw this up?" Marcus snapped. The weight of his anger hung in the air, thick and suffocating. Mia caught Ben's gaze. He seemed conflicted, as if he was weighing desperation against their next move. Finally, she whispered, "We're outnumbered. They'll lose us in the dark, but we have to get out now." Ben hesitated, but the sound of Marcus's voice was like a lit fuse, and she could sense the explosion of danger coming. "We can't let him catch sight of us. It'll be the end. Let us go." With adrenaline coursing through their veins, they crept backward, slipping through the dense foliage as quietly as they could. Every sound felt amplified: the rustle of leaves, the scuffle of dirt beneath their shoes. Together, they moved stealthily away, aware that one wrong step could lead to their end. Suddenly, a sharp voice cut through the night air. "They're here. We need to move." Mia and Ben plunged deeper into the shadows, every instinct screaming at them to flee. But as the figures shifted, drawing closer with menacing intent, Mia glanced back one last time at the men who could very well be their saviors or their executioners. A sense of impending dread washed over her, and she could feel the weight of the world pressing down on her shoulders. Their fate hung by a thread. "Just keep running, don't look back," Ben urged, and they sprinted into the labyrinth of darkness, leaving everything they knew behind. But with an accelerated pulse and fear licking at their heels, Mia wondered, would they be able to outrun the truth? What awaited them at River Street? Was their plight merely a prelude to a greater danger lurking just around the corner? As they raced through the shadows, adrenaline surged within Mia. Each step felt heavy, weighed down by a multitude of emotions: fear, confusion, resolve. The streets blurred, but the reality of their impending confrontation loomed large, mocking them like a ghost. River Street was close. They had to keep running. Ben's grip on her hand was fierce, a tether connecting them amid chaos. "We can do this," he encouraged, his voice steady yet muffled by the pounding of their hearts. As they approached River Street, shadows danced around them, but their destination was all that mattered. When they burst into the street, the air hung thick with tension, the moonlight casting silvery beams that illuminated the warehouse up ahead. The old structure loomed like a fortress of secrets, its weathered exterior hinting at long-buried stories. "There!" Mia gasped, pointing. "That's south the place." They charged up the steps, urgency clawing at them. Every creak beneath their feet sounded like thunder, echoing their doubt. "Ben, what if it's a trap?" she whispered, glancing around. Would they walk into a web spun with deceit? "We won't find answers by standing here," he replied, determination hardening his voice. They reached the door, battered but unyielding. Ben turned the handle with a swift motion, swinging it open. A dim light pierced the darkness, revealing a scene that was both haunting and surreal. Inside, figures swirled in silent conversations, urgency threading through their movements. At the center stood Marcus Hale, the man whose mere presence had sent waves of panic through Mia's veins. She froze, heart pounding like a beating drum, her fear grappling against her will to confront him. "Mia!" Derek's voice cut through the noise, a lifeline in the tumult. He was stepping forward, urgency written across his features. "You shouldn't be here." But there was no turning back now. Mia took a deep breath, steeling herself. "I came for the truth," she declared, her voice breaking through the murmurs. The room went silent, every pair of eyes turned towards her, gauging her resolve. You don't know what you're asking for, Marcus warned, his voice smooth yet laced with an undercurrent of menace. You're meddling in affairs that run deeper than you imagine. I know why I'm here, Marcus, her voice trembled, but she pressed on, steeling herself against the storm. It's about my father, isn't it? It's about the secrets he kept hidden. What did he leave behind? The tension peaked, threading through the room, a palpable blend of fear and anticipation. You don't understand the chaos your family has caused, another voice chimed in, one of Marcus's subordinates. You're a pawn in a game you never wanted to join. No, I am finished being a pawn. She shouted back, her heart racing with courage, a fire igniting within her. I want to know what he was hiding. Silence engulfed the room, and for a fleeting moment, Mia dared to hope the truth lay just beyond reach. Marcus stepped forward, his presence both threatening and magnetic. Very well, Mia. But remember, every truth comes with a price. Are you prepared to pay it? I'll do whatever it takes, she whispered, her resolve hardening. Ben's presence beside her felt like an anchor, grounding her as they faced the tempest. Marcus turned, his gaze penetrating. Then you shall uncover the fragments of your past, but be warned, the truth is rarely what one expects. Follow me. As they ventured deeper into the shadows of the warehouse, Mia felt a strange mix of fear and hope. They passed through hallways lined with memorabilia, remnants of the life her father had crafted in secret. Each piece whispered stories that could shatter the very foundation of her reality. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed outside, sharp and jarring. Mia's heart leaped in her chest as she turned, adrenaline surging once more. What was that? More trouble, Ben said, eyes wide. We can't stay here. Marcus gestured for them to follow him into a dimly lit room. This is a safe space for now. We must discuss what's next. In that moment, with her heart pounding and the shadows closing in, Mia's resolve was put to the ultimate test. She had come searching for answers, yet she was stepping further into a maze of danger. But in every heartbeat danced a flicker of hope. The potential for liberation lay in uncovering the labyrinth of her past. With Ben beside her, she clung to that hope, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The door behind them creaked ominously, hinting that danger was still near. Would they escape the storm, or would this revelation lead them deeper into chaos? The weight of uncertainty hung thick in the air as they prepared for the next chapter in their fight for truth. Now was the time for action. The climax was near. Subscribe immediately to my channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. You need to be part of this journey. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Let's get more people on board. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. I can't wait to hear what you think, and come on, don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support is everything.